Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is Craig with Mutt's Gear Shack. Today I am busting out my early 2000s, I believe it's a 2001, it doesn't have the serial number sticker on anymore, Washburn Dime 333. This is an import, but an authorized import from back in the day. So it's an actual real Washburn. You can see it's been through the ringer. Lots of nicks and dings on it. Yeah, it's a Dimeslime. Put the Slimer sticker on years ago. I found this on Marketplace off of Facebook many years ago. I believe they had it listed at $700, and the guy ended up taking, I think I paid $675 for it, if I remember right. Which, you know, it's a pretty good price for these, considering these things have skyrocketed. And the cheapest one I've seen, you know, when I go online between Reverb or eBay is right around $1,200 to $1,400, and they go north of that. Whether or not I think they're worth that, it's up for debate. You know, these sold new, I think, for around $650. They're decent enough guitars, but, you know, they're an import guitar. They're not, you know, completely accurate. The knob placement's off on this, as is the jack plate and the toggle switch. It's not in the right spot, but, you know, that's kind of how these things were. They had different models of the imports. They had the Korean ones. This is a Chinese one. The Korean ones had a little more accurate knob placement than the Chinese ones did. I haven't played this thing in quite a while. I took it on a trip down to Arlington, Texas several years ago. And I paid my respects to the brothers. Put some pictures up here. That was a humbling experience for me to go down. I'm a huge Dimebag Darrell fan, Pantera fan, and to be able to go down there and see, you know, the brothers' graves. You know, drove past Dime's house, and I went to his favorite Mexican restaurant. So I'll throw some pictures up here of that. That was just an awesome experience, you know. And took this guitar with me to his grave, and you know, this is a guitar I'll keep the rest of my life. You know, I did upgrade it years ago with a older Duncan 59. It already had a Dimebucker in it when I got it. I put the black Grover tuners on it and a black Floyd Rose Special. It's actually got a reasonable looking top on it, which we'll get a better look over on the workbench. These are just veneer tops. They're not like a thick maple, you know, top or anything like that. But they're still, for what they are, they're good guitars. You know, I'm never going to be able to afford, without selling, you know, or mortgaging my house or something, I'm never going to be able to afford a USA Washburn, you know, D3. It's just not going to happen. You know, I did at one point consider getting one of the new Dean, you know, custom shops. You can get a slime version of it. And, but again, you're looking at $5,000–6,000 for those. Even these, you know, like I said, have went crazy in price. So, you know, if you can pick one up for a reasonable price, you know, jump on it. So today we're going to put it on the workbench. These strings are several years old. I'm going to put new strings on it, condition the fretboard, give it a nice setup. I also had completely rewired this guitar. It's got all cloth pushback wiring, CTS pots, CTS jack, CTS switch. But the Dimeslime was one of my favorites, you know, guitars that Dime had. I'll start up here at the headstock. The Washburn Dimebag Darrell signature model. Again, this is not a fake or a counterfeit. This is a real Dime 333, although made in China just like those fakes were. This has a real rosewood fretboard on it. It has a bound neck. It has actual binding on the body. There's the Duncan 59. It was a used one. I picked it up off eBay. A Dimebucker. Floyd Special. As you can see, I've run into an issue here when I put this on. It doesn't quite fit. Some of the adjustment screws for the intonation are hanging over, so I can't pull up on the bar, which I don't really use it a whole lot anyway, so it's not a big deal for me, but I am going to route the cavity here so that it does clear it. And it's got some bumps and bruises. The person that had it before me really kind of abused it or played it a lot. I don't mind the chips and dings. I like a guitar that's seen some use, Road Warrior. Just means it was a good guitar. But it's definitely been bumped around. Unfortunately, when I got it, it didn't have the back plate on it. There's a switch. CTS pots I put in. I do have a decent Washburn gig bag for it though. I'll give it a little polish. Tape over top of our trims so we don't lose our little string blocks. Pain to go chase those down. Flip the guitar over. Give the frets a little polish. I gave these a good polish a while back. And didn't get a lot of play time, so don't take much. Yeah, they're shining right back up again. Oh yeah, those shined up nice. Gotta find my Dremel. For really heavily oxidized frets, it's way easier with the Dremel. Now we'll hit it with our Dunlop fretboard cleaner and prep. And then we'll hit it with some of our lemon oil. Let that soak in. We'll wipe excess off. All right, it's been soaking in for a little while. I'll wipe off the excess. So we got our fretboard all conditioned, our frets polished up. Looks good. All right, let's check our nut width. So our 1.715 at the first fret, 2.061 at the 12th fret. Neck depth, first fret we have 0.786. At the 12th we have 0.861. Alright, we're getting a reading of 15.98 on the bridge pickup, the Dimebucker. And getting 7.35 on the neck pickup, which is the Duncan 59. And middle 5.045. So I'm all out of my Ernie Ball Super Slinkies that I usually use. I usually use super slinkies or regular slinkies. I recently picked up, it was like a whole crap load of these cheapy strings off of Amazon. I was just curious if they'd be any good. So we're going to try these out. Because I think I got like 10 packs for just a couple bucks. So they're probably garbage, but we'll see. They're just a regular 9 to 42 set. It says nickel alloy. So we're going to see how these things, we'll see how they work. Color coded. Orphe, I believe they're called. Everybody's got different ways to string up a Floyd Rose. I do them both ways. This is much quicker, just to pull this in all the way. And then I'll usually just snip it at the back of the Floyd. Our intonation's still off a little bit, so we're going to use this thing here, and this clamps on the back of here and holds everything so you don't have to loosen up your saddle and have it take off on you. So if the to intonate the guitar, it's just it's pretty simple. If the fretted note is sharp, which I'm going to fret it at the 12th fret, higher than the harmonic, move the saddle backwards away from the neck, and if it's flat, you move it more towards the neck. So pretty basic. And then setting up a floating Floyd Rose, it's time consuming, but basically you're just balancing the string tension with the spring tension in the back. So tuning, adjusting your spring tension in the back if you need to, tuning again, and it's just multiple until you get your bridge floating perfectly. It's time consuming though. I'm just using a cheap Korg tuner. So we're a little sharp. So since we're sharp, we're going to move this saddle back a little bit. Now with pressure on this, shouldn't take off. And we can move this back a little bit more. We'll see if that did it. Better, but we're still a little sharp. Alright, I got our intonation all set up. This thing is a really handy tool to use. So they make better ones. They make a little bit nicer ones too. But this works. So I got a little trim stop on the back just to keep it from hitting the body on the top. And I've added these little foam inserts for the springs. It kind of quiets down the spring noise. Got her all tuned up. Got the action really low, right around 1.25 on the low E, high E. Very little buzz. You don't really hear it when you're plugged in anyway. These strings that I put on there, those Orphe or whatever, they're pretty much garbage. They just don't want to stay in tune. I tried stretching them out. They're just crap. I broke one already. Had to replace it. It's just, so I don't recommend those. Yeah, with these strings on it, it's a little difficult to keep the thing in tune, so I definitely got to put some new strings on it and route the body a little bit so that I can pull up on the bar. Overall, though, it's a decent enough guitar. Like I said, a lot of people think that these things are super, super great, and in my opinion, they're not. They're good guitars. They're just not great guitars. You know, everybody, you know, puts these things as like a mythical thing. You know, these are not anywhere close to a Washburn Custom Shop D3 or a Dean USA guitar. This is the only thing most people can afford, so everybody is going after these like they're super great guitars, but they're not. They need a ton of upgrades too, just like the counterfeits. You know, they're almost the same type of thing. The hardware and the pickups were not good on these things. You know, the wood's cheaper wood. They're cheaply made guitars, and they're just imports. So everybody puts these on a pedestal, and they're good guitars. Don't get me wrong. They're decent enough guitars. They're just not great guitars. They're just not, you know, super, super high end. So you got to be kind of prepared. If you're going to spend $1,400 on it, you're not really getting a $1,400 guitar. You're getting a $500, $600 guitar. That's what these things really are. I mean, people are paying the dime tax on them. So, you know, you're paying more than twice what the guitar is really worth. So it's kind of like, you know, up to you. Do you want to spend that much to get one of these? I'm just as happy with the counterfeits, honestly. They're pretty close. With some mods, I think that they could be very, very similar. But, you know, it's a cool guitar. You know, Dimebag Darrell, I mean, you know, it's just, I love the slime finish. It's just cool looking. Thanks for watching, guys. I really, truly appreciate it. Everyone subscribes, comments. Remember, if you like the content, give me a big thumbs up and subscribe. And I'll see you guys next time.